Okay, so today I'm going to be doing a video on a particular brand of fans, and that is the Bersted fans. Now, a lot of people don't like these Bersted fans in the vintage fan collecting community, if that's even a thing. I guess it is. There's a bunch of people who do it. Of course, we're referring to the company that makes these fans here, McGraw Electric Company, Bersted Manufacturing. Originally, the really old ones were it was Bersted Manufacturing Company. Then McGraw Electric bought them. Then eventually, I think Edison bought them, and then it became McGraw Edison. But it's the Bersted Manufacturing Division, most of them. These were known as drugstore or dime store fans, which are mostly sold at drugstores really cheaply. These were about the cheapest fans you could buy. Everyone doesn't like these. They say they're really cheaply made, and that they are. They were definitely built to a price, but they're definitely still great compared to the modern ones. And I quite like Bersted fans. They're very simple. There's not much to go wrong. In fact, a lot of them don't even have a switch, as we will see shortly. So I'm going to be showcasing the Bersted fans that I have, at least the ones that are in presentable condition at the current time. This one here is the first one I ever got. In fact, this is the first vintage fan I ever got at all. This is an 8-inch Zero Model 1250R. This is from the 60s. And here's the side of it. And you can see that it was modified to have a switch put into it at one point, but this fan is a plug it in to run it and unplug it to turn it off type of fan. It is very simple in construction, made of a stamped base and a stamped casing with a simple shaded pole motor inside of it. It's a 2-pole motor. Now these fans, as you can see, the motor shaft is very, very thin. And this fan has very worn out bearings. You can see well, you can't really see it. Yeah, there you go. See the up and down play in those bearings? That is due to the fact that since it's a 2-pole motor and the shaft is so small and these blades are so light, they don't pitch these blades very much. And these fans run at very high RPMs. So therefore, the bearings need oil a lot more than your standard, say, Emerson or something like that fan. These fans really needed to be oiled weekly, even when they were brand new, and nobody ever did that, so therefore it's very hard to come by these smaller, later model Bersted fans that run properly, at least without a lot of lubrication. This is the plug. Original cord, you plug it in when you want it to run, and you unplug it when you want it to turn off. As you can see, nice strobing. As you can see, it's running very quietly now, but after this fan runs for about 30 minutes, it will start making some rattling sounds, which I believe is the rotor commutator, rotor, whatever, scraping the inside of the stator because things expand and the bearings are worn out. This can be combated by oiling it, which you have to oil this fan about every 30 minutes when it's running. But if the noise doesn't bother you, it moves a good amount of air. Even then, it still has a good spin down time. And I mean, how can you argue with that head badge? Isn't that cool? I know it's supposed to be ice, but it looks like blood running off of there. They have a model with a red badge. Okay, so that's the 8-inch Zero. I'll be right back with the next 8-inch model. Okay, so here is our next 8-inch model. This is a Bersted fan as well. This was an Eskimo model 1100H. This one is an older model compared to the other one, but it's the same size. It has basically the same motor. The blades are thicker and a bit more pitched, so it runs at a bit lower RPM, The base is also made of a cast metal as opposed to a stamped metal, and the back of the motor housing is stainless steel or something like that. Here's the information plate. As you can see, Eskimo, Bersted Manufacturing Division, Model 1100H. Bersted Manufacturing Company, sorry. This was before they became a division of McGraw Electric. Now this does not have the original cord. The original cord would be just like the one on the other one. It'd be rubber. I just put this asbestos cord on here because I think it looks kind of neat. Once again, another plug it in and it runs type fan. This one, the bearings are a lot tighter on, which is good. I'm talking about tight going up and down, not no play in it, not this. It spins freely. So go ahead and run this one. It's creating an interesting strobing effect with the light, which is interesting. It's an incandescent lamp. You can see this one runs at a lower RPM. Moves about the same amount of air. Doesn't have quite as long as of a spin down time, but also it runs at a lower RPM. So next we're going to move on to 10-inch models. Okay, so the 10-inch models are where we get a bit more fancy. Some of them have switches, some of them do not. They do, however, oscillate. This is an Eskimo, once again, model 1005R, Bersted Manufacturing Company. Once again, this is before McGraw Electric bought them. Really, and the cell phone is ringing. Let's see, who is interrupting us? Mr. C. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so this one also has a stamped base. This one once again has the oscillating mechanism. Now these fans have fairly good oscillating mechanisms. They're not great, but they're a bit weak. The because they have wastic. They have wastic. They have plastic gears. However, if you put grease in them, keep them greased, those plastic gears are just fine. You have to unloosen. You have to. Okay, well this video is turning into a freak show real fast. You see, when I try to make quality content, it gets interrupted anyway. This fan, as you can see there, has a switch on it. And there goes the cell phone again. Oh, it's an audio message. What did she try calling or something? No. One audio message.
To anniversary, Six Flags. To trick-or-treating, ring a bell.
What?
To Alaska 3733. Oh my god, I don't understand. Am I Jordan?
What?
How the fuck do we go from COVID to anniversary, Six Flags, to trick-or-treating, ring a bell, to Alaska 3733? Oh my god.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. I didn't even know you could text someone an audio message. You learn something new every day. I swear these iPhones, they can do a lot of stuff. They're too advanced for me. I need to stay with my simple machines here. Okay. We'll go ahead and turn this one back around and try to keep it somewhat straight. Now this fan has this plug on it, which is 2 prongs that are basically just made of tape. I really need to replace this, but it works. We'll turn it on without oscillation first. This one runs quite well. The 10-inch models, I believe, have a 2-pole motor as well. they run at lower RPMs and have less bearing problems than the smaller ones. As you can see, the shaft is a lot bigger and it runs at lower RPMs because the blades are more pitched, which means that instead of being flat, they're like this, so they're going to push more air, in case you weren't aware. But these do still have 2-pole motors, but they're pretty good. I'll go ahead and turn it off. This one doesn't have an extremely long spin down time. It's okay though. I don't really restore these. Like, I kind of like this is the original finish on here, you know. Sure, it's got a few nicks and stuff, but you know what? That's the original finish. You know, these are kind of pitted. I'm not gonna polish them up. I mean, it's just, you know, happens over the years. Unless something is really, really rusty or really damaged, I don't really repaint them or do anything like that. Alright, we're going to go ahead and turn on Oscillation now. Now, like I've said, these Bersted fans are known for having poor quality oscillating mechanisms, at least people say. I've personally never seen one that's bad. I have seen them... Okay. I have seen them where this linkage either gets broken or missing somehow. But I've actually never seen one where the gears are bad. I'm sure it happens. Okay, now I'm going to turn the attention because I just thought of something really quickly. See way in the back there, that green fan? I'm not pulling that out, but that's a Sears fan, which is an Edison fan. It's not actually a Bersted fan, but it is an Edison fan, so it's made by the same company and it has a lot of the same parts. If you're interested in a video on that, there is a video on that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this guy on. I believe the oscillation is, engaged. Now, one thing I'm not too big of a fan of is how quick the oscillation moves. Like, these things do pretty rapid. See, it's kind of rapid, and it goes further to one side. See, it's sitting straight right now, and it only goes there, and then it goes way over to the other side. I'm not too big of a fan of the way the oscillators in these work as far as that goes, but as far as breaking down, they don't really seem to be too bad. I'll go ahead and cut it off again. And the thing that I like about Bersted fans, and here's a quick tangent after what I'm going to say here. The thing I like about these fans, they're very simple. And if you ask me, they have some really cool designs. I mean, this is the cobweb grill. They got some cool designs. And they got this logo here. And this thing just looks industrial, and I love the base on these. They're not the best quality. They're not like an old Emerson or anything like that. Those things weigh a ton and last forever. But as far as vintage fans go, some of them are pretty damn expensive. Like an old Emerson, those things will bring a ton of money. Especially if it's a brass blader. And stuff like old GE Vortelexes and stuff, they're great, but they're expensive. These fans are not... I just don't want to waste my lights. These fans are really not worth much. They're collectible, yes. They're great fans, yes, but they're not worth much. This fan here, in perfect condition, is worth maybe $20. I think that's exactly what I paid for it. Alright, now here's the rant. Used to, you could go to the flea market and pick these things up. 5, 10 bucks, 15 bucks. Just old fan. Now, we have people selling these, or trying to sell these, on eBay for hundreds of dollars. Then you go to the flea market. How much is that fan? Oh, well, I saw one on eBay for $200, so I'd have to have at least $150. It's like, really? You've got an old rusty fan and you want that much? Yeah, well, I saw one on eBay for that much. Okay, then. Sell it on eBay. Just because something is for sale on eBay does not mean it's selling, and even if something's sold on eBay for a certain price, that doesn't mean it's worth that. Anyway, side rant over. We're going to move on to our next 10-inch model. I have 2 more 10-inch models. Well, this one that I'm about to show you, and one more. This is a Zero model. (1265R). Once again, 10-inch oscillating. It has a 2-pole shaded pole motor in it, just like the other one. Now these fans do run quite hot, if I didn't mention it before. A lot of people get freaked out by them. If you're running it, you touch it here, oh my god, that's hot. Yes, these things get hot. As long as it's not hot to the point where it will instantly burn you or you smell or see smoke, it's probably fine. I mean, really, these things do run that hot. Shaded pole motors are very inefficient. Inefficient being a relative term. These things aren't going to run your power bill up. This one draws 55 watts. Anyway, this is another one just like my other Zero, kind of modern, although it has the newer head badge, which is red. I don't like these because they're painted and non-textured, so they kind of scrub off. The older one was textured so that it, even if the paint is gone, it's still kind of there. See, it's textured. Now this one is another one that doesn't have a switch. This one just plugs in and goes. It's oscillating. And this one once again has the same stamped metal. It's basically the same as the smaller version, but it is bigger. So we'll go ahead and it has oscillation, obviously. Not the original cord, it's polarized. We'll go ahead and plug it in. I would like to mention something real quick. That noise you're hearing is the center cap. The center cap in the blade. There's a little cap in there in the middle of the blade that is held on by 2 metal ears that you twist. And that it's a bit loose. It's a bit loose is the point. But I don't want it to break, so I'm not tightening it, because it quits once it gets going. Ooh, this thing is struggling to get up to speed. It really is. Jeez. It's been turned off for a while. Okay. It's not moving any air. I'm confused. That kind of helped. Anyway, there it goes. It's speeding up now. Gotta come around to this side, I forget. For the spin down time, with oscillation off, once again you unplug it to shut it off. It's about the same as the other 10-inch version. They didn't really change these motors much in the whole time that they made them. So this is a 60s model. The other was a 50s. They don't change these motors. You can see this one moves. The oscillating is a bit more even on this one. Although it's hanging up. This fan is not running right. I mean, it's running okay, but it's just not. I don't know. It doesn't seem right. See how it's kind of juddering when it comes back up? It's kind of hanging on something. I don't know. A bunch of these are in as found condition. I've only gotten around to cleaning and servicing some of them, and I can tell by the way this thing is so slow that this is not one of them, and I don't remember ever taking this one apart. So I believe that's the case. Alright, we move on to our last one, and it's not a Bersted fan at all, but it is the same company, so I'm counting it. This is a Toastmaster. Now, Toastmaster, like Bersted, is a division of the McGraw Electric Company. Although it is its own division, it's not part of Bersted. But you can see that it uses the same base. These blades are plastic, and the badge is in the middle of here. This is model N5368. Once again, 55 watts. And looking inside of it, It is the same 2-pole motor that all the other ones had. It does have a different oscillating mechanism, however. It's on the top. I'm guessing you can see that, yes. So we'll go ahead and fire this one up. This one has a switch on the back, just like the other ones. We'll fire it up without oscillation first. Jeez. Oh, I remember this one. This one's a pain in the ass, because I can't get the screw that holds the blade on out of it to take it apart and clean and lubricate it. So it kind of runs like shit. Hear it? That's the sound of bearings that haven't been cleaned and lubricated in forever. And I can't get the blade off because the set screw is stuck tighter than shit. And it's a flathead screw, it's not an Allen key like a lot of fans use. And it's just, it's bad. This poor thing. Pulled this one out of some guy's garage. I was buying some other things. He said, take a look around, see if there's anything you want. I dug this out. How much for that? I'll take it. So, we'll turn it on with the oscillating on. And I'm glad I didn't pay anything for it, because it ain't worth shit. Oh. Come on. I know the oscillator works. Okay, it's reverse threaded. It's taking a lot of screwing here. Okay, there we go. Oh, it's trying to oscillate. Let me see. Come on, honey, you can do it. There we go. Okay, this thing's... it's stuck. There's something going on here. Something is... okay, quit it! Jeez, this video is really turning into a freak show. This is yet another one that I haven't gotten around to doing anything with, but I've tried. I just can't. The bearings aren't bad, as you can see how the spin down time is, and there's not a bunch of play in them. I do believe that this one would run great, and this would be one with all this rust that I would completely restore. Okay, now we're going to move on to our last one, which unfortunately is the only example of this version I have, which is debatably the best version of the Bersted fans, and that is the 12-inch. This big, heavy thing is a Wizard Husky, made for Western Auto Supply Company, model that. Now, although it doesn't specifically say Bersted Manufacturing Company on it, it says manufactured for Western Auto Supply Company, I can guarantee you this is a Bersted fan. And they didn't really change the styling between the different years and the 8, 10, and 12-inch versions. But, you know, you get a design that works, and you stick with it, and I like that. This is basically the same basic design they used since the 50s, and this is a 60s, late 60s model. This one's in really good shape. It's a 12-inch model. Now, why is a 12-inch model so much better than the other ones? Well, A, it's bigger. But here's a couple of reasons. If we look at the blade set, you can see it's much more pitched than the others. Well, kind of. And the blade set, if I zoom in here, turn it around in the right direction here, you can see that the blade set consists of 4 different blades with an actual hub, and the blades are attached to the hub and they're kind of thick. This is compared to the 10 and 12-inch versions, which use a single piece stamped blade. So those are much higher quality blades. This also, all of these 12-inch ones, as far as I know, have a switch on the back. The oscillators are the same, the bases, all that is the same. However, this one has a 4-pole motor, which sounds a lot less high-pitched, like a lot less whiny, basically. The other ones go kind of wah. These ones are kind of, they sound better, and they move a lot more air for some reason. They do run at lower RPMs, so the bearings are a lot easier to oil. The bearings don't have to be oiled weekly like the other ones. Once again, consists of a nice oil port up front, and the ones with the oscillators don't have a rear oil port. The idea is that the grease in the oscillation mechanism will lubricate the rear bearing. Oops. And to an extent, that was true. However, not completely. This fan, I put a long pull string onto because I had it hanging on the wall, which you can do with any of these. But this one is just in incredible shape. It's got some stuff on it, but it's got a few little nicks. The worst is back here. But as far as these Bersted fans go, this one's fine. And I actually saw, when I got it, it had oil residue all over the bottom of it, which tells me that somebody was indeed oiling it. So we'll go ahead and turn it on with no oscillation. I don't know if you can hear the wind noise. It moves a lot more air. I hear what I mean about it being a lot less high-pitched. The other ones are kind of wah. This one sounds more like what you would expect a regular fan to be. So we'll do the spin down time. And I will turn the oscillation on, which once again has this same mechanism where you clamp down this. Once again, this cord is not original. Originally it would have a rubber cord. And the switch was originally one of those turnstile switches, like on all these other ones. So, there's a video on all of my different Bersted or McGraw Edison, McGraw Electric dime store fans that I have. These are great fans that receive a lot of undeserved hate. Yes, they're cheap. They're not as good as an Emerson, something like that, but they definitely have their purpose, and I think at this point they've lasted long enough to show that they are indeed a good product, unlike modern stuff, which costs more features, and it breaks. So, that is the end of this one. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Do feel free to leave a comment if you have one.